Hello, welcome to the energetic forecast for September 2nd until September 8th. We are going to be dealing with the heavy, crushing weight of responsibilities this week. I am going to share a blend at some point in this forecast, so stay tuned to give you a couple of essential oils you can use just to overcome this heaviness that we're going to be interacting with and dealing with. I can see the inner struggle here between wanting to go on vacation. Like you haven't had enough of a break. You haven't enough of a vacation. Like I know summer is over, but did you really get to have a break during that time? And also the need and the overwhelm of having to take care of our obligations and our duties and you do the adulting things too. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and please like, subscribe, hit that bell so that you're notified every time a new forecast is up and you are prepared as we move into each week. And every once in a while, I give a blend, some recommendations, practical recommendations as well to help you navigate these different energies. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay, here we go. So let's just get to it. This is a big day Monday because it is a new moon. It is the beginning of a new cycle, and we have this new moon in the sign of Virgo. If you take a look at here, new moons happen when we have the moon and the sun essentially right next to each other. They're going to come together somewhere around 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, in the evening time. So right with both of these luminaries here and it being a new moon, this gives us a sense of what this next cycle is about. Now, Virgo is an earth sign and it is ruled by Mercury. And what's important to know about Virgo is that it is very practical, it is very organized. It does like stability, predictability, some structure as well, some organization. It is not about the chaos, the clutter, the mess, the scattered brainness. Like it is not about those things whatsoever. So it likes to bring order from chaos. It likes to create that. It likes to progress too, and it cares very much so about wellness, about health. The way that I see this new moon cycle that's going to be very helpful to utilize. Look, I talked about responsibilities, right? So at least we have the sun and the moon here to support us in doing our part, okay? Taking care of what's important and what matters to maintain our health and wellness on multiple levels. But the way that I see this is a great time to organize your schedules, organize your routines and your habits, maybe meal planning, for example. That's a very Virgoan kind of activity. So this is a good time to sit down and come up with a plan for your life in terms of the everyday. We're not talking about like major big visions right now, unless that's what you want to. But the great thing that we're going to get out of this Virgo new moon is the minutia. It's the details. It's the everyday things that need to be taken care of, kind of like brushing your teeth and washing the dishes, right? You can't really get away from that, taking showers, etc. So let's expand our daily habits to like, okay, I think meal planning is a really great idea. Considering the cost of going out to eat, that's just not as practical as meal planning and getting so much more value from the food that you purchase at the grocery store and make. Finding easy dishes, for example. Also, maybe setting some time for exercise and movement. Like I said, Virgo cares about wellness. So focusing on your health would be a wonderful type of new moon intentions. But beyond just your health, just your professional schedule, your personal life schedule, your health schedule, anything that deals with schedules and optimization, efficiency, maximization. Maybe it's time to get a planner. Maybe it's time to find some sort of software or system or app that's going to help you organize your time and your focus and your efforts. So this is what I'd love for you to focus on for this new moon, this next new moon cycle. And it makes sense. You know, many of us are in the back to school mode, and it kind of, for me, this time of year feels more like the beginning of a new year rather than January, but that's just personal. Another thing too about Virgo, because we've got, look, both sun and the moon here, these are very important planets to us, is we are going to want to do, it is a kind of a restless sign in a sense that it wants to get things done. It's not a daydreamer, it is a doer. It wants to accomplish, it wants to achieve, it wants to put things into action, put things into movement. So thankfully, as we are designing these new schedules and structures, we're also going to have the energy for it, because that's another cool thing about earth signs, is that it's pretty robust and it has the energy to do the things, and it has this like incredible work ethic, put in consistent regular effort as well. So thankfully we have that on our side here. Now we do need to talk about some of the more difficult challenges. This one's going to be around for a couple of weeks up until September 14th. And remember, when we see red lines, whether they're in opposition, meaning they're on the opposite end of each other, or they're in a square, which is a 90-degree angle. So when we look at aspects, we're looking at degrees. We're looking at the angles in which these planets are interacting with each other. But an opposition is basically 180 degrees. There is a buffer, like a 10-degree orb, of course. But we have Sun in opposition to Saturn. And when we see these difficult aspects, we're going to bring out some of the more challenging, more of the shadow side of a planet. And here's Saturn here that looks like that H with the line over it. And when we have that, we're going to deal with more restrictions, obstacles, challenges, and complications that come our way. For example, like you are trying to change your schedule and then little things come up and you're like, I really had intended on working out at this time, and then something comes up where you have to shift things around. So these little fires could come up, these little hiccups that come up that you're going to have to deal with. And another thing about this is a planet of responsibility, the planet of Saturn. And in this opposition to our sun, which does represent our vitality and our energy, right? What could happen is that this is where the crushing weight of responsibilities, like there's too many responsibilities and it's so overwhelming. It can create that paralysis. It could create that just freezing and not moving forward because it's just too much. And it can create like lack of confidence and belief that you are capable of handling all of these things. It can also weaken our vitality and our energy. As sun is very exuberant and vibrant, right? It's hot. It has a lot of yang, it has a lot of energy, whereas Saturn is cold. It's coldness. So it can kind of dampen our vitality and our excitement and our passion about something and doing something, even kind of weakening our willpower. So I'm going to give you, there's a few other aspects I want to talk about, but then I'm going to give you just a simple combination of essential oils just to help overcome the heaviness that Saturn has over us, because that's going to be around, like I said, for a couple of weeks. Okay. So we may have limitations or just issues coming up just circumstantially or from certain people around us too. And that's going to be one of the more challenging aspects. We do have Mercury over here, this purple planet, and that is in the sign of Leo. Thankfully, Mercury is out of retrograde. Oh, we can breathe a bit. I don't have to re-record my videos several times anymore, or have to get new equipment because things are breaking down. So Mercury is in a good space here. It's very expressive. It's very heart-centered. It is great at directing and leading. So there is this sunshine about the way that we're communicating and the way that we're expressing ourselves. It's very heart-centered expression. And if we aren't emotionally invested into something, we're probably not going to be interested in it with Mercury being here in Leo. Now, I will say though, we do have Mercury in a square, which that's a red line, a red square to Uranus. This could have some challenges in a sense that trouble listening, trouble with focusing and concentration, getting easily distracted. So that's something to be conscientious of. And I'm going to add, like I said, an essential oil to help support that too. Now, we've got Venus. Let's talk about Venus next over here. Venus is in Libra. It is super happy in Libra because it's in its home sign. This is where Libra can really just be, this is where Venus can really be in full expression here because she's super comfortable. This is her home. She obviously welcomed in her own home. And with Venus representing pleasure and fun and relationships and just, love. I mean, it's like the planet of love, right? Mars is planet of war. This is the planet of love. It's about connection. It's about luxury and beauty and harmony and peace. It's a very sweet, soft sign. It's also very into luxury and high quality and about the arts. And so, as you can see, that's not a hardworking sign. A lot of Libra influence doesn't really love, like the hustle and grind kind of work. And so we have this opposition here. We've got a part of us that is really like overwhelmed by responsibility, but then there's another part of us that is just wanting to indulge and relax and go on vacation and just be and just play and have some fun in our days. And that's very strong since Venus is in Libra. Now, we do have one challenge though when it comes to our Venus is that it is in opposition with the planet Neptune right here. And Neptune has in its shadow side, because we're dealing with this opposition, and it's not the only opposition, it has an opposition to Mars as well, but a square to Mars, so another difficult conversation. But with this one, we have to look at the secrets, the lies, the delusions, the illusions that Neptune brings. And this is in reference to relationships and people. So we have to be cautious in who we're playing and having fun with, because we could have some rose-colored glasses or over-idealize a person when they may actually be someone who is secretly harmful to us. So if you tend to be on the gullible side, be extra cautious here. This is an energy of where people are scheming and scamming and taking advantage of someone's vulnerability and their kindness and their compassion. Because with Venus and Libra, there's going to be so much kindness and compassion. And so there's a bit more openness here. It isn't a place where it wants to shut people out. It wants to invite people in. So especially with relationships in this way, the rose-colored glasses thing, but also in finances, I feel like just be very cautious of financial schemes and financial scams. As you can tell, it's on the rise. I don't know about you, but my phone is going off. It is blowing up, even my Facebook, with scams galore multiple times a day without fail. And when economy is not so great, that's when the schemes and the scams start to really ramp up. So please be cautious is my point with this is double check, do your research, do some investigation, make sure you're not jumping into something that is going to end up in some sort of financial disaster, ruin, or relationship ruin, etc. Okay, so there's that. We do have Venus, though, with a trine to Pluto, which I do like. Trines are more positive in nature. They provide gifts. So what I do like about Pluto, though, it is more discerning and discriminating. So at least we have that on our side. It's more of the investigating nature. It likes to understand what's going on below, like what's going on underneath. My hope is that the energy of Pluto with this great conversation with Venus will be able to catch anything that's a little sus. Okay. So it'll be able to point it out and figure it out so that you don't get trapped into something that you shouldn't be. Okay, so there's another aspect that is a little rough, okay, that's going to be around also till about September 15th. So a lot of what I'm talking about for Monday is applying for the whole week. It's just the moon that moves around quite a bit, and that's what I'll be sharing for the rest of the week, those little changes. But stay through the end of Monday discussion because that's going to give you a good idea of what the week feels like. Now, we have another square, which is this square between Saturn and Jupiter. So there is a red line between Saturn and Jupiter. And this is, just to give you an idea, Jupiter up here that looks like a 4, this is about freedom. This is about adventure. This is about exploration. But it is quite independent too. And it just likes to learn and understand. And especially being in Gemini, which is the sign of communication and the mind and thinking and learning, right? Speaking, like it needs freedom of mind here. And then we have over here the Saturn, which is about, difficulty, responsibilities. And so the way that I see this interaction, because it is a challenging interaction, is feeling trapped by the weight of responsibilities and slowing somebody down or anchoring somebody down. Because here Jupiter and Gemini, it wants to start thinking really big, but then Saturn comes in and is like, nope, you need to take care of this, you need to take care of that. So if you feel anchored down by like old commitments, for example, that's going to be one way that it expresses. And it could even leave you feeling very uncertain and unsure about your future or about your visions and hopes and dreams. Saturn brings a lot of self-doubt and negativity and pessimistic, because it's an older, wise soul, or older wise energy. How about that? And it's very realistic and grounded and practical, but sometimes to an excess. And that's what we see in these very challenging aspects, is that now we're bringing out, like, it's kind of like, somebody has called me Desi Downer, so I'll just use that. But like a Desi Downer, like somebody will share with me, oh, I could do this, I could do that, and I'm just like, that is just so not going to happen. but it's to an extreme where it's now like destroying people's faith and vision. So we may experience this all internally, like within ourselves, like, oh, I could see this happening, this going there. Look at this growth that's possible. We could have momentum here. And then we have like this negative Nelly Saturn over here that's just like, that's a pipe dream. That is a little too fantastical. That's never going to happen. And so this can just kind of crush our dreams and our hopes. And not only that, it's like, oh, well, why don't you take care of things that actually matter and really matter? And then not really addressing and touching things outside of our duties and responsibilities. Look, we're all going to have them. We all have basic everyday responsibilities, of course. And there's also a dreamer inside of us too that desires to create things into existence that currently does not exist. And it may not be super practical in nature. So this is what I'm talking about, is like, we're now not even, we're not exploring another part of ourselves outside of just this material realm and material world, when really we want to incorporate both. So I'm going to give you the essential oils I'm going to recommend to help deal with this, because these are the main complications I feel we're going to come across this week, and it's going to be such an internal experience. Yeah, you might have some external, hardships and hiccups and annoying things and fires to put out from this Saturn opposite the sun, but I feel like a lot of this is going to be more of an internal battle, and you're going to want to use all citruses that you like. Pick some citruses you have, plus cardamom. Okay, citruses plus cardamom. I really, really love cardamom in helping to digest certain thought patterns in general, especially when they're coming from Saturn. Because, like I said, Saturn is very cold in nature. And then we have cardamom that is nice and warm. It's more yang in nature. It stimulates metabolism too. And it's going to help digest, break down, dissolve, a lot of the coldness, that the excess cold. We're not talking about the parts of Saturn we love, but the excess cold that comes from Saturn. So this is being torn between feeling free. This is the main issues here: being free and playful and free spirited and fun and all of that, and enjoy our pleasures, like with our Venus and Libra. But then, that the weight of our responsibilities just seem to feel much bigger than our ability to just drop into play, for example, and drop into just curiosity and exploration. So use some citruses and cardamom. I don't care what citruses you use. Go ahead and choose your favorite flavors, your favorite scents, doesn't matter. You can do, like, for example, 3 drops of a citrus and 2 drops of cardamom, to give you an idea. Okay, so one last aspect that I want to mention, and it has to do with Neptune. Look, remember I talked about Neptune is lies, secrets, deception, scandals on the shadow side of Neptune. And we have another difficult aspect, is that Neptune is also in square, a red line, okay, to Mars. And this can bring some lower energy. Neptune is it's a watery planet, very watery. And so it can douse the fires of Mars. And Mars is that, like, willpower, passion, drive, ambition. So it can basically calm the fires, and we can feel some tiredness, some lack of motivation. We already have that with Saturn in opposition to the sun, but now we also have that from Neptune on Mars. And so that's why I wanted to add some cardamom here to help add some warmth and heat to combat all of this watery coldness that's present. But this can bring some paranoia, some fears as well, that being suspicious. In some sense, I feel like you should. I wouldn't just accept and believe everything that everyone says around you because of the way Neptune is. Like I said earlier, even with this, people taking advantage of you. Stay away from gossip if you can. This, to me, we just need to be cautious about who we completely believe and trust and accept, okay? And another hardship with Neptune is addictions, because it rules poison. So with these more complicated aspects, like, it could make us want to escape, especially if we're feeling that weight of responsibilities and it's just too much for us to internally handle and we start shutting down. This can then trigger Neptune within us to start seeking poisons, or alcohol, or any other hallucinogenics or things like that, not for their sacred use, but more for escaping the overwhelm of responsibilities. So we have to be cautious of that too. So yes, this is going to be a lot to deal with for this week. And this is going to be there all week, by the way. Another thing besides those essential oils that I just recommended, just keep in mind, like, especially on this day, and I think it's until Wednesday that we have moon. We have moon in Virgo for 3 days. And that's something that I keep track of, is where my moon, or where the moon is. Your moon too, my moon, your moon, it's all the same. But where moon currently is, in what sign, because that gives me a lot of information of what I can do to attune to the energies. And the moon being in an earth sign, I recommend doing something from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, doing something that is connecting to the earth. And to give you an idea, cooking cooking is very much so like a Virgo thing, but cooking for health. It's not like, let me make these decadent, desserts. Like, it's not about that. Virgo is about actually like making nutritious foods. And cooking where you're actually touching the vegetables or the fruit or whatever, and then chopping using the hands. Mercury rules the hands, so activities like that, or gardening, but using your hands and using elements of the earth in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, I think cooking is one of the most easiest things that it's accessible to all of us, is to be in the kitchen and touching plants and grains and etc. That will be a great way to soothe out the body and your emotional body, your physical body and your emotional body, your nervous system, around this time while moon is in Virgo. So that's another practical tip for you. Okay, let's continue on to Tuesday. So remember, the stuff that I talked about Monday, majority of that applies all the way to the rest of the week. But our moon is what changes in its conversations with other planets. And so Tuesday, we already had, that Saturn opposite Sun that I talked about. Now we have it also opposite the moon. So we have it opposite both of them. It's because now Sun and Moon are at within a degree that it's directly opposite to Saturn. I look at that. Saturn is 16 degrees and now Moon is 17 degrees. And this is going to further enhance our sensations of possibly loneliness, of isolation, low self-confidence. So just do those Virgo activities that I just mentioned just to help with that release. Here's the thing with Virgo. Virgo knows how to find the flaws. That is its superpower, is finding what is wrong. What is wrong? What is wrong? And it's not just to be negative. Because I talk about this negativity, right? Virgo, that's its kind of shadow side, is that it can be very critical, very judgmental, and very negative. It's nitpicky. It sees so many details, and it has like a radar for finding what's wrong. So what does that mean? When Saturn is like heavily influencing, this Sun and Moon in Virgo, now we start to like pick out what's wrong within us, pick out what's wrong within others. And that's just not really like a uplifting experience. So this is going to be quite challenging, where you probably feel some imposter syndrome even, and just feeling like you're not enough. That not enough sensation may be more heightened here on Tuesday. We're already probably going to feel it on Monday, but now it's almost like double, triple the intensity of that. So use that citrus and cardamom, okay? That'll give you some relief for this. Now, we do have one other harder aspect. So the moon's has a little rough this day on Tuesday. And remember, moon represents our emotional body, our internal world, our internal experience, but it also is our physical body too. And this is in square with Jupiter. This one is not as intense as the Saturn one, because it can bring some feeling of just well-being, because Jupiter is not necessarily a hard aspect to the moon. However, it can bring up more indecisiveness. It can bring up a little bit of carelessness, a little bit of changeability, and be careful with indulgences. That might be one of the harder things. We already have a lot of things going on with Neptune. There's a lot of indications here for us escaping into food, escaping into drugs or poisons like that, alcohol, escaping into sugar. Like, we just need to be very cautious of this. Drink a lot of extra water, and just eat as many vegetables as possible. Like, eat the vegetables first. How about that? Eat your vegetables first. So that is going to be our challenge. I think I already talked about that one. Yes, perfect. So that's Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, we still have our moon in Virgo. It's going to be our last day in Virgo, but we do have different conversations that are happening. Look at the number of lines going to the moon. It's so many. It is having so many conversations here. So we have Moon that is conjunct Venus. Now, I know that it looks like it's really far away. This blue planet is Venus, but there's just some other things here that are kind of in the way. But Venus is in 7 degrees and Moon is 28 degrees, and they are pretty much 9 degrees apart. So they're pretty close to each other, that it's warrants that it's a conjunction, which means they're next to each other. And this is going to bring some need and desire to connect with loved ones. I highly recommend this right now. I think from all the self-doubt and loneliness or isolation and just like possibly lower self-confidence that we may have on Monday and Tuesday, I think it would be really helpful on this day to kind of phone a friend and just be around the company of sweet, kind people on this day. You maybe have have dinner with your friends or family members that you love and enjoy being around, but have a little party, have a mini little party, have a little like mommy date, something like that. So be around caring, loving people. It's going to be very nourishing at this time. We do have Moon square Mars, and Mars brings some aggression, annoyance. So yeah, your Moon's going to be possibly a bit more irritated, not only like what we've been dealing with Saturn, but also adding in some annoyance and irritation. People might irritate you. I'm not talking about your loving, sweet friends, but just people in general, maybe as you're going out in the world and doing your usual grocery shopping, etc. This can also make you a bit more passionate and stubborn, and really like driven to work on your goals, work on what's really important to you. So there is that aspect. We do have a trine between Moon and Uranus. Uranus is this purple one over here. See, it's at 27 degrees and Moon is at 28 degrees. So they're in trine right here. And that's a really nice conversation. This is going to give you this need for freedom. You're going to want to be free. You're going to, oh, wow, we have a nice, actually, grand trine now that I see this. Look at this. Between the Moon, you have a trine there to Uranus, and then Uranus and Pluto has a trine, and then Pluto and the Moon has a trine. So you see this like blue large triangle right in the center. I can't believe I missed this earlier. But this is going to be a very, wow, you're going to be in touch with yourself a lot more. Maybe like all of the challenges that you went through between Monday and Tuesday, you are going to really see the bigger picture of it, and you're going to connect into, the deeper meanings behind what's happening in your life and what you're doing. And Uranus brings about great change and evolution as well. But you're going to feel super free and very powerful, connected to yourself and connected to this vision or this mission. Uranus can give us great visions too. So talk about heightened intuition between the Moon, Uranus, and Pluto. Your intuition on this day, and Moon being in Virgo, is very like discriminating and scrutinizing, and it can sift and sort through a lot of information. And yeah, I think you may get some really powerful insights into yourself or into this world or your circumstances and just what's happening in your life. You're going to see it. You're going to see the many layers of it. It won't be a superficial understanding by any means. Like, you're going to get pretty powerful insights on this day. We do have Moon in opposition to Neptune. It's directly opposite, like 28 degrees here, Neptune, and Moon is 28 degrees. This is the one we have to be careful of. Okay. Thankfully, we do, like I said, thankfully we have the Moon in Virgo, and I like how it's in this grand trine. But the one challenge, and I've already mentioned this, is deception and that rose-colored glasses and not seeing things as they are, but seeing things as we want to see them. So that's one of the challenges of Neptune. But between the essential oils that I gave you and seeing that there's this grand trine, look, you have to look at the whole picture. If we didn't have this grand trine and we only had moon opposite Neptune, I would be a little bit more concerned about being taken advantage of, and someone trying to pull something over you, or trick you in some way. But the fact that you have all of this incredible grand trine happening, I feel less concerned about that. So I'm glad I picked that up now rather than earlier when I completely missed that. Okay, so another aspect to mention is for Wednesday is Sun in square with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is super optimistic, okay? It's super hopeful. It's very positive. This that could be the result of this aspect for you, where you're feeling more confident, feeling lucky, feeling proud of yourself. The one thing to be careful of, and especially because we have that moon opposite Neptune, is kind of overshooting it. Like thinking something is way greater than it actually is, and then it could lead into just embarrassment and disappointment. So we just want to make sure that we aren't hyping something up more than it really is. And when we're dealing with grounding things, this is why even look, moon's in Virgo, working with the earth, just putting your bare feet on the ground outside, even at the minimum. But I like more of the gardening and the cooking because now we're incorporating the hands. That will help us overcome whatever like delusions that Neptune is going to bring us. Yeah, so doing those, because look, the sun is also in Virgo, so that's why I'm saying doing more earthy things will help overcome these oppositions and these squares where they could confuse us and also cause us to not see things in their true light. And that's something we want to avoid, is so that we're not getting in some sort of mess as a result of our lack of clarity of perception. Okay, so that is it for Wednesday. Now, Thursday, we have a major change up in our moon, and moon has now left Virgo and now it is in the sign of Libra. Just a reminder, moon stays in a sign about 2.5 to 3 days on average. And our moon today, it is right next to Venus. Do you see that? Venus is 8 degrees and moon is 10 degrees. So they are so close to each other. And moon is happy here. Libra is calm, chill, peaceful. It loves to just have some great, delightful conversations. It likes to laugh. It likes to tell stories. I mean, it loves the arts. It loves theater. I mean, this is the ultimate play and luxury, like yummy food. and Venus is here in its home sign, so the moon is very well supported. And look at this. I think does the moon have aspects? Oh, it doesn't have any extra aspects other than it's next to Venus. So look, the moon is all calm and chill on its own. It's not having a hard conversation with Saturn or Pluto or nothing. It is on vacation. Our moon is on vacation this day. We still have those difficult, aspects in the background, but it's almost like Thursday we get a kind of reprieve. We get to chill this day. Internally, you're going to feel a bit more chill. And so it being in an air sign, I mean, it's just one wants to have conversation. So this would be another good day to consider entertaining or doing a quick lunch date with somebody, something like that. Like just plug in a little fun because you're going to get a lot out of it. And plus with everything that you've been going through for the whole week, it's well deserved. How about that? So this is a good day for play. Now let's continue on to Friday. Friday, there's just one notable aspect and it's a good one too. This is moon in trine with Jupiter up here. And so this is going to bring about lots of like good feelings and feeling like you're growing and understanding yourself. And you're going to want to share your feelings with others too. So this will generate really positive interactions within your relationships. Feel very relaxed. You're going to be in a good mood. So very nice time to just be around people as well on Friday. And look, Moon is still in Libra and it's supported by Venus being in Libra. So it is a lot happier too. So I like Thursday and Friday so far. Some things that could expand here are some visions or dreams, prophetic dreams, especially if that's part of your natural, like spiritual giftings, the gift of prophecy. That might get a little bit enhanced and heightened on this day with a moon trine for Jupiter. Okay, so there's that one. Let's continue on to Saturday. Saturday, it's different. Now our moon, we only got a couple of days of that beautiful Libra moon, but now we have transitioned into Scorpio. And remember, Scorpio is one of the harder positions for Scorpio. Now, I think it does have some positive aspects to it. Well, it has a trine with Mars, so that is one benefit. Here's why. Mars rules Scorpio. And the fact that so basically Mars is the owner of this house of Scorpio, okay? And so the host is Mars and the guest is Moon. And the fact that the Moon and Mars is in good communication, that to me makes it a little bit easier for the Moon to be here in Scorpio. And so Mars is going to bring that drive, okay? And especially in Scorpio, that focus, that passion, and like it's very investigative in nature. It's intense. Look, this is not a place where the Moon relaxes. It's past that stage. Like when it left Virgo, when it left Libra, it was done with vacation. Now we're back into work mode here. So we got a little break in the middle of the week, but now we're back into work mode. And what I like about this, because remember I talked about those more challenging aspects in the background. This Moon in Scorpio in conversation with Mars is going to problem solve. Like this is going to go straight into the conflict, straight into the issues, and it is driven to understand and it is driven to solve these issues or these problems or these obstacles or these situations that are coming up. It's not going to put its head in the sand. It is not going to hide and it's not going to run away. It's not doing any of those things. The Moon is ready to just bring it. Like bring it. Let's do it. Let's take care of it. So it's kind of like a soldier. So yeah, so I do like that aspect of it, even though, but it's still intense, right? We're not here relaxing on Saturday, even though it's a Saturday. I wouldn't say we would be relaxing. And then Moon is also in that square to Pluto, which can bring like a sense of some destructive behaviors. That's kind of popping up a lot. So let's be very cautious of things that we're addicted to so that we don't go down the rabbit hole and do too much excess of anything that is not healthy for us is something to pay attention to. We do have, I already talked about this, to trine to Mars. Perfect. All right, so that's that for Saturday. Sunday, our Moon is still in Scorpio, but it has a lot of support. So even though our Moon is feeling a lot of feelings and it's very intense, but at the least we have very good conversations with 3 other planets. One, it's communicating with the sun, all right? And the sun in Virgo is also super investigative as well and scrutinizing and able to sort through a lot of information and details and analyze and evaluate and put things back together. So there is harmony here between like what you're thinking and what you're feeling. There's going to be this congruence happening between those sides of ourselves. So I like the flow of you like getting it and understanding it. You know, you were probably like problem solving now, and now it's just more of like refining of that and really nailing down the right strategy and the right plans. That's the thing between Moon and Scorpio and the Sun and Virgo, and they're in good conversation like this and they're harmonious in this way. They talk about strategy. This is like ultimate strategizing right here and precision, okay? Strategizing and being very precise. Not only that, we have a nice trine to Saturn, which I love this because it brings one emotional strength, which the moon needs here. It brings patience. It brings dedication, focus, persistence. I mean, you have all the right ingredients here to take care of business. Like maybe in the beginning of this week, it felt like a lot, almost where you feel like you can't do anything about it. And then you got to kind of step away for a couple of days and go on vacation. Thursday and Friday, internally, emotionally. And then the weekend comes along and you're like, that's it. I got it figured out. Let's take care of this. So that's kind of the spirit of the whole week, to give you an idea. So not only we have that great conversation with Saturn, lastly, we still have that trine to Mars happening. And with that, we have this increased like mental energy, also increased drive and focus as well, more adventurous, willing to take risks and going into the unknown. So with all of this, there's no hesitation. Maybe at the beginning of the week you felt that, but by the time we get to the weekend, you are ready to tackle it. You are no hesitation, no resistance. Nothing's holding you back. Yeah, I get it. Like we still have the Saturn in opposition with Sun that could bring a little bit of like doubt and pessimism and negativity. However, there's too many good things happening to the moon here that it is going to overcome that. You're going to overcome any of those doubts that you had before, or just not even knowing where to go. It's really the tides are gonna shift by the end of the week. Okay, wonderful. All right, well, that is our forecast for this week, for September 2nd to 8th. If you loved learning this kind of information, please do share this with anyone you feel will benefit from it. And please like, subscribe, all of the YouTube things. It really helps to reach other people with this information so that they can take away what is useful for them and basically make their week a little better for themselves. And if you would like a cosmic clarity consultation, I'll put the description down below if you want more customized interpretation of your chart and also what's going on in your life in this current season as well. And if you want blends and protocols and recipes that are very, very customized for my group of people that end up coming into my circle, as well as being considerate of what the current energies we are bathing in, I make custom blends every month, workshops, meditations that are very important for each of us to have these tools so that we are moving through these days feeling very victorious rather than defeated as an empath and hypersensitive. So again, thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next forecast.